I want you to listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to say might shake you a little, but it will also wake you up in ways you didn't expect. If you've been feeling lazy, lost, unmotivated, drifting through your days like a ghost moving through your own life, then this message is for you. And I need you to understand something before we continue. You are not lazy. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are disconnected. Disconnected from the fire you once had. Disconnected from the dreams you stopped believing in. Disconnected from the version of you that used to wake up with energy and hope and hunger for life. That disconnection, that numbness, that fog inside your mind, that is what you're really feeling. Not laziness, but a soul that has gone silent. A heart that has dimmed its own light to survive the disappointments you've been carrying. A mind that is tired of trying to be strong alone. You may not realize this yet, but everything you're feeling right now, this heaviness, this lack of motivation, this sense of floating away from your own life, it didn't come out of nowhere. There was a moment, a shift, a breaking point, a day where something inside you changed. Maybe it was a failure you couldn't recover from. Maybe it was a heartbreak that drained your trust. Maybe it was a dream that collapsed after years of effort. Maybe it was silence from people you hoped would support you. Maybe it was life forcing you to carry burdens you never asked for. Or maybe it was something even more subtle. A slow decline, a quiet erosion, a series of small disappointments that eventually convinced you to stop trying as hard, to stop caring as much, to stop reaching for something higher. Because here's the truth most people never say out loud. People don't become lazy because they choose to. They become lazy because they lose connection to their purpose. You don't wake up one morning and decide, I don't care anymore. I don't want to try. I don't feel motivated. I don't want to grow. No, it happens slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. One skipped day becomes two becomes seven become 30, and suddenly you're living a life you don't recognize, a life you didn't consciously choose. A life that feels too small for the potential you know you have. And the worst part is, you know it. You know you're capable of more. You know you're wasting time. You know you're holding back. You know you're drifting. You know something needs to change. But you don't know how to begin. You don't know where to start. You don't know what direction to move in. You don't know which version of you to trust. The one who dreams or the one who doubts. And because you can't choose, you freeze. And because you freeze, you call yourself lazy. But listen to me. You're not lazy. You're overwhelmed. You're drowning in thoughts that aren't organized, responsibilities that aren't aligned, dreams that feel too far away, and emotions you've been suppressing for years. You're not lost. You just stopped hearing your own voice beneath the noise of life. You're not unmotivated. You're exhausted from pretending you're okay when you're not. Let me show you something. A story to reflect your life. Imagine someone waking up in a small room. The curtains are closed. The air is still. Their phone is the first thing they touch every morning. They scroll. They scroll. They scroll. Hours pass. They barely notice. They tell themselves, I'll start soon. I'll do something productive today. I'll fix my life tomorrow. But tomorrow comes, and nothing changes. Days blend into each other like identical pages in a book no one wants to finish. This person wasn't always like this. No, they used to dream. They used to believe. They used to imagine a life filled with meaning. But somewhere along the way, life hit them, and they didn't know how to get back up. So they stayed down and called it laziness, as if laziness is the absence of effort, when in reality, laziness is the absence of hope. One day, this person looks in the mirror, and for a split second, they see the version of themselves they used to be. That small moment, that flicker of recognition, that reminder of who they could have become. It hurts, because deep inside, they know the truth. The real battle was never against laziness. The real battle was against the pain that broke them, the disappointment that silenced them, the fear that paralyzed them, the doubt that convinced them to shrink. And the moment that person realizes this, everything begins to shift. Today, that person is you. Right now, this moment, this chapter. This is your turning point. The moment you stop running from your own potential. The moment you stop believing the lie that you're weak. The moment you stop calling yourself lazy and start understanding yourself deeply. Because laziness is not a personality. It's a signal. A warning sign from your mind that something is misaligned. And that signal, is the beginning of your transformation. Why you really feel unmotivated. You feel unmotivated because your life lacks clarity. Your mind doesn't move when it doesn't know where to go. Your heart doesn't rise when it doesn't know what it wants. Your spirit doesn't fight when it doesn't believe the battle matters. It's not effort you're avoiding. It's emptiness. Think about it. When you care about something deeply, nothing can stop you. If there was a fire in your house right now, you wouldn't wait for motivation. You wouldn't procrastinate. You wouldn't hesitate. You would move instantly, because the meaning is clear. But your life has lost that clarity. You don't know what you're chasing. You don't know what matters. You don't know what direction is right. You don't know what the future looks like. So your brain shuts down, not to sabotage you, but to protect you. A human being without direction collapses into stillness, not because of laziness, but because of confusion. And confusion can be cured. The hidden mechanism of laziness. Here's the part no one ever tells you. Your brain is wired to conserve energy unless a goal feels clear, possible, meaningful, rewarding. If even one of these is missing, your brain refuses to engage. That's why motivation feels random. That's why you start things and don't finish them. That's why you have days of energy and days of absolute nothingness. You're not flawed. You're running an outdated mental system. And in this 90-minute journey, we are going to rebuild that system from the inside out, piece by piece, step by step, until you feel alive again. But you need to stay with me, because the deeper we go, the more you'll begin to understand the truth behind your own mind. And once you understand the truth, you'll never fear laziness again. You'll know how to break it, dismantle it, outgrow it, rise above it, because laziness is not a wall, it's a fog. And when the fog lifts, you'll see the path in front of you clearly, the spark you forgot you had. Right now, as you listen to these words, you feel something shifting inside you. The small spark, a tiny reminder, a whisper you haven't heard in a long time. Maybe I can come back. Maybe I can rise again. Maybe this isn't the end for me. Maybe my story isn't finished. That whisper is your fire returning. It's weak right now, so fragile, but it's there. And if you feed it, if you nurture it, if you give it direction, it will grow into something unstoppable. By the end of this journey, you will not just feel motivated for an hour, you will feel transformed for life. Not because I poured motivation into you, but because I reminded you of something you forgot. You were made for more. You always were. And deep down, you've always known it. This is not the end of your story. This is the moment your story begins again. The open loop, what comes next? In the next chapter, we're going to break open the psychology of laziness, expose the invisible forces in your mind that hold you back, and show you how to break them forever. But for now, let this truth echo inside you. You are not lazy. You are misaligned. And alignment can be rebuilt. Your life begins again now. Before we go deeper, I need you to understand something that most people never learn in their entire lifetime. Laziness is not a character flaw. It's not weakness. It's not a lack of ambition. It's not a failure of discipline. Laziness is a signal, a message from your mind, a protective mechanism that activates when something inside you is misaligned. People think laziness means, I don't want to do anything. But the truth is, laziness really means, I don't know where to go. I don't know what matters. I don't believe my efforts will change anything. I don't feel connected to the goal in front of me. Laziness is not your enemy. It's your compass. It's the reflection of a mind that has lost clarity, a heart that has lost direction, a soul that has lost spark. And until you understand the psychology behind it, you will continue fighting the wrong battle, blaming yourself for something that isn't your fault. So today we go deeper. We go inside the machine of your mind. We look at the mechanics of motivation, and we expose the invisible reasons why you feel stuck. Because once you understand these reasons, you gain power. Power over your thoughts, power over your habits, power over your life. Let's begin. The first psychological truth: your brain hates uncertainty. Your brain has one job, one ancient instinct, one evolutionary priority: protect you. It doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your goals. It doesn't care about your ambitions. It cares about safety. And uncertainty is the opposite of safety. When you don't know your next step, when your goals feel blurry, When your future isn't clear, when your dreams feel too far, your brain senses danger. And what does it do? It shuts down your motivation. It slows your energy. It makes you lazy, not to punish you, but to keep you from walking into what it believes is a threat. Your brain is saying, if we don't know where we're going, staying still is safer. That's why you procrastinate, not because you're broken, but because your brain believes movement without clarity is dangerous, so it freezes you, keeps you still. It convinces you to wait. Wait for motivation. Wait for certainty. Wait for the perfect moment. But the perfect moment never comes. And so you wait, and wait, and wait, until days disappear, weeks disappear, months disappear, and your life becomes an endless loop of hesitation. But once you understand this mechanism, you can break it, because the moment you give your brain clarity, stops panicking, stops resisting, stops freezing, it begins to move again. But we're not done yet. There's more. The second psychological truth: your brain needs reward. Every action in your life is driven by chemicals, and the most powerful of them all is dopamine. Dopamine is the motivation chemical, the desire chemical, the let's get up and do something chemical. But here's the heartbreaking truth. Most people have dopamine systems that are completely broken, not because something is wrong with them, but because the world they live in has hijacked their brain. Think about it. Every scroll on your phone, every notification, every short video, every like, every comment, every quick hit of stimulation, it gives you tiny dopamine spikes, just enough to keep you hooked, but not enough to create real motivation. You get dopamine from entertainment, not effort, from distraction, not discipline, from stimulation, not progress, and your brain learns, why work for reward when I can scroll and get it instantly? This is why simple tasks feel heavy. This is why studying feels impossible. This is why cleaning your room feels like climbing a mountain. Your brain is addicted to easy dopamine and allergic to effort. But there's a way to reverse this, a way to reset your reward system, a way to make your brain crave progress again. We'll get to that soon. But first, let's go deeper. The third psychological truth: you're not lazy, you're afraid. This is the part no one wants to admit, not even to themselves. Behind laziness, there is fear. Fear of failing again. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being judged. Fear of wasting time. Fear of trying and not seeing results. Fear of returning to the pain you felt last time you tried. Your mind remembers the past, and it whispers, don't start. It might hurt again. This fear is subtle, silent. It shows up as procrastination, lack of motivation, avoidance, numbness, distraction. But underneath it all, it's fear. So the question is, what are you afraid of? Not achieving your dreams? Or discovering you were capable all along, and that you wasted years believing otherwise? Because here's a truth that might hit you hard. Most people don't fear failure. They fear responsibility, the responsibility that comes with succeeding. Because once you succeed, you lose your excuses, you lose your hiding places, you lose the comfort of saying, I can't. And your life becomes yours again, which is terrifying for people who've been drifting for too long. But we're not here to hide from fear. We're here to face it and rise above it. Let's keep going. The fourth psychological truth: the mind protects you from what feels pointless. Your brain is efficient and brutally honest. Something feels pointless if a task doesn't feel connected to a bigger purpose. If the reward is too far away, your brain says, why bother? And it shuts you down. Think about the last time you tried to work on a goal, but deep down, you didn't believe it would lead anywhere. How motivated were you? Almost zero. Because your mind needs meaning. It needs direction. It needs proof that your efforts matter. Without meaning, there is no energy, no passion, no momentum. And here is the part that matters. Your life doesn't feel meaningful right now, not because it isn't, but because you haven't connected your actions to your purpose. This changes, starting today. The fifth psychological truth: momentum is everything. Here's something powerful. Your brain doesn't need you to do everything. It just needs you to do something. One small action, one tiny step, one little victory can completely shift your psychology. But when you take no action, when you stay still, when you lie in bed saying, I'll start later, your brain enters a state of paralysis. Not because you're weak, but because you have zero momentum. Momentum is the engine of motivation. Without it, nothing happens. With it, everything becomes easier. Think about it. The hardest part of getting out of bed is the first movement. The hardest part of going to the gym is putting on your shoes. The hardest part of studying is opening the book. But once you start, everything becomes easier. Why? Because momentum replaces motivation. You don't need to feel motivated when you have momentum. Momentum pulls you forward. Momentum makes action feel natural. Momentum rewires your brain. This is why in the next chapters, you're going to learn exactly how to create unstoppable momentum in your life. But for now, let's continue deeper into the mind. A story that mirrors your mind. Imagine a lion in the wild. Strong, powerful, unstoppable. But imagine someone keeps it in a small cage. Day after day, year after year. At first, the lion roars, fights. It pushes against the bars, tries to escape. But over time, after enough failed attempts, it stops trying. Not because it lost its strength, not because it lost its power, but because it lost its belief. And then one day, the cage door opens. The lion can walk out. It can return to the wild. It can reclaim its life. But what does it do? Nothing. It stays inside, because the cage is gone. But the mindset remains. That lion is you. Your cage was disappointment, was failure, was stress, was heartbreak, was overwhelm, was confusion. But now, the cage is open. You can walk out, but you don't feel ready, because your mind still believes you're trapped. Trapped by laziness, trapped by doubt, trapped by your past. So, you will learn how to break that mental cage forever. The open loop, what comes next? In the next chapter, everything becomes emotional, because we're going to talk about what happens when life feels meaningless, when your heart feels empty, when your identity collapses, when you lose the sense of who you once were. Chapter 3 will show you exactly why you feel lost, and how to rebuild the emotional core of your life. But before we move on, remember this truth. You're not lazy. You're unaligned, unrewarded, unclear, afraid, disconnected, overstimulated, and exhausted. And none of those things are permanent. Your mind is not broken. Your motivation is not dead. Your spirit is not gone. You are simply in the waiting room of your next evolution. And now, we begin the process of rising. There is a moment in every person's life, a quiet moment, a heavy moment, when they look at themselves and whisper, "I don't know who I am anymore." Not loudly, not dramatically, but in a silent, tired voice, like someone who has walked in circles for years. And if you've ever felt lost, if you've ever felt like your life doesn't mean anything, if you've ever felt like you're moving through the world without purpose or direction, you are not alone. Feeling lost is not a weakness. It is a signal from your soul, a message from your inner world telling you, something is missing, something is wrong, something inside you needs attention. You see, there's a deeper layer beneath laziness, a deeper layer beneath your lack of motivation, a deeper layer beneath your procrastination and confusion. And that layer is emotional disconnection. When life feels meaningless, motivation dies, energy dies, hope dies, but you keep breathing, you keep moving, you keep existing, almost like a ghost inside your own life. And today, we're going to walk into that dark room within you, not to stay there, but to turn the lights back on, because you can't escape a darkness you never acknowledge. You can only rise from it by facing it. Let's begin. The silence no one talks about. There's a silence inside people who feel lost. Not the peaceful kind, not the meditative kind, but the heavy kind, the kind that sits in your chest like stone, the kind that makes you stare at the ceiling late at night, thinking about nothing and everything at the same time. You feel it, don't you? A quiet emptiness, a softness where your passion used to be, a blank space where your dreams used to live. It's not depression. It's not laziness. It's not weakness. It's the emotional exhaustion that comes from being disconnected from your purpose. Because purpose isn't a luxury. Purpose is oxygen. Without it, you don't live. You simply maintain. There's a difference. Living fills you with energy. Maintaining drains you quietly, slowly, like a plant that once reached for the sun, but now sits in a dark corner, forgotten. You're not dying, but you're not growing either. You're just surviving. And you know it? You feel it every morning when you wake up without excitement. You feel it when every day feels the same. You feel it when nothing seems worth the effort. You feel it when your dreams feel distant and blurry. You feel it when you laugh less, smile less, hope less. Is the emotional core of feeling lost. But here's the truth you need to hear. Feeling lost is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of self-discovery. Because losing your way often means you're finally ready to find a better one. The collapse of identity. There's something powerful that happens before you feel lost. Something subtle but life-changing. Your identity collapses. Not physically, but internally. Think about it. There was a time when you had dreams. A vision of who you wanted to become. You saw a future self. Clear, strong, confident, successful. But life didn't go the way you imagined. You experienced failure. You experienced rejection. You experienced disappointment. You experienced moments that broke your trust in yourself. And slowly, without noticing, you stopped believing in the version of yourself you once imagined. Your identity cracked. Your inner story changed. You stopped saying, "I will," and started saying, "Maybe someday," then "Maybe never." Then finally, "I don't know who I'm supposed to be anymore." And once your identity collapses, everything collapses with it. Your motivation, your discipline, your confidence, your hope. All of them are built on the foundation of who you believe you are. So if you don't know who you are, you can't know what to do. This is why laziness takes over. Not because your body is tired, but because your soul is tired of pretending. Pretending to be fine. Pretending to be strong. Pretending to be motivated. Pretending to know where your life is going. And that pretending drains you until the only thing you have energy for is nothing. But here's where everything begins to shift. Identity doesn't collapse to end you. It collapses to force you to rebuild. To force you to ask the questions you've avoided for years. Who am I? Really? What do I want? Truly? What kind of life do I actually desire? What kind of person do I need to become to live that life? These questions are not weaknesses. They are rebirth. A story that mirrors your lostness. Imagine a young woman walking through a city at night. Tall buildings around her. Lights everywhere. People moving with purpose. Cars rushing. Life happening all around her. But inside her, nothing moves. She feels like she's floating, disconnected, distant, like a spectator in her own life. She used to have a plan. She used to have a dream. She used to know exactly where she was going. But somewhere along the way, life hit her with a combination of disappointments she wasn't ready for. A career that didn't work out. A relationship that ended painfully. A dream that slipped through her fingers. A version of herself she could no longer recognize. And one night, as she stands on a bridge overlooking the water, she whispers, "I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know what my life means. I don't know who I am." And in that moment, a truth rises inside her. Not a gentle truth, but a sharp one. I've been living a life that no longer belongs to me. I've been carrying dreams that no longer fit me. I've been pretending to be someone I'm not. And for the first time, she allows herself to feel lost, not to drown, but to breathe, because she finally understands something powerful. Being lost is not a failure. It is the first step of finding yourself again. Why you feel lost right now? You feel lost because the life you're living is too small for the person you're becoming. You feel lost because the identity you had no longer matches the future you truly want. You feel lost because the dreams you used to chase were created by an old version of you. And now, you're evolving, changing, growing, silently, internally. And your old life can't hold you anymore. So you feel lost, not because you're behind, but because you're transitioning. You're shedding an old identity before stepping into a new one. And transitions feel like emptiness before they feel like clarity. Listen carefully. Before a phoenix rises, burns. Before a forest grows, empties. Before a star forms, collapses. Meaninglessness is not the end. It is the space you need to rebuild meaning. The first tool, the identity reset. Here is the turning point. If you feel lost, your identity is ready to reset. And identity resets begin with one question. A question powerful enough to shape your entire life. Who am I when no one is watching? Not your job, not your achievements, Not your failures, not your mistakes, not your status, not your past. Who are you at your core? When you remove the expectations, when you remove the pressure, when you remove the fear of failing, when you remove the version of yourself that tries to impress the world, who remains? That person is the one you must return to, because that identity is pure, untouched, unbroken. That identity is the seed of your next evolution. In the next chapters, you will rebuild your identity, piece by piece, brick by brick, until clarity replaces confusion. But for now, let's open the emotional door just a little wider. The second tool, the meaning grid. When everything feels meaningless, there is a simple exercise that can shift everything. Write down these 3 questions and answer them honestly. What feels empty in my life right now? What part of me have I been suppressing? What do I secretly wish I had the courage to pursue? This is not journaling. This is extraction. You are extracting the truth behind your lostness, revealing the emotional wound beneath your laziness, breaking the surface of the numbness you've been feeling. When you answer these questions, you begin reconnecting with yourself, your real self. But we're not done, because chapter 4 will reveal the one question that can shift your entire life. A question most people never ask, but the ones who do change everything. Before we move on, let this truth sit with you. You are not lost. You are in transition. You are in between the life you had and the life you're meant to build. You are not empty. You are clearing space. You are not broken. You are rewriting your identity. Feeling lost is not a curse. It is your soul pulling you toward a life that finally makes sense. And now, we walk into that new life, one chapter at a time. Chapter 4, the one question that shifts your entire life. There is a moment in life, a single moment, where everything begins to change. Not because something outside of you shifts, but because something inside you wakes up. And that awakening, that spark, that turning point, often begins with one question. One question that most people will go their entire lives without asking. One question that separates the people who drift from the people who rise. And today, you are going to ask it, you are going to face it, you are going to let it crack open the old patterns inside you. Because this question has the power to change everything. Your energy, your motivation, your direction, your decisions, your identity, your entire life. But before we get there, you need to understand something. Transformation doesn't begin with action. Transformation begins with clarity. And clarity begins with honesty. Most people want a new life, while holding on to the habits, the fears, the routines, the excuses, the identities that built their old one. They want growth, without discomfort. They want purpose, without reflection. They want change, without confronting the truth. But life doesn't work like that. If you want a new life, you must be willing to confront the question that unlocks it. Let's go deeper. The illusion of I don't know what to do. So many people feel lost, confused, unmotivated, and they tell themselves the same story. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know where to start. I don't know what direction to choose. But that's not the truth. Deep inside, you don't know what you want. You don't know what needs to change. You don't know what you've been avoiding. You don't know what your future is asking from you. But you silence that knowledge because the truth is uncomfortable and discomfort scares you. You don't lack clarity. You lack courage. The courage to admit that your life needs to change. The courage to accept that your excuses are lies. The courage to face the reality that your habits are destroying your future. The courage to accept that the life you're living is too small for the person you're meant to become. And that is why this question matters. Because it forces honesty. It forces clarity. It forces courage. It forces change. Here it comes. The question that shifts your entire life. The question, what pain am I no longer willing to tolerate? Let it sink in. What pain am I no longer willing to tolerate? Not, what do I want in life? Not, what are my goals? Not, what should I do? Those questions are too soft, too vague, too easy to avoid, too easy to lie about. But this question cuts straight through your excuses, because you don't change your life when you want something. You change your life when you've had enough of the pain caused by staying the same. Read that again. You don't change when you want more. You change when you refuse to accept less. Let me show you what I mean. The pain threshold, where all transformation begins. Every person has a threshold, a limit, a point where the pain of staying the same becomes heavier than the pain of changing. And that moment is powerful, because once you hit your threshold, your brain flips, your heart shifts, your soul wakes up, and you say, I can't live like this anymore. This pain is not worth it. This version of me is not enough. I deserve more than this. I refuse to tolerate this life. That is the moment transformation begins. You don't rise because you're strong. You rise because you're done being weak. You don't grow because you're fearless. You grow because you're tired of letting fear control you. You don't change because you feel ready. You change because you feel trapped. Pain creates transformation, not pleasure. If you want proof, look at your own life. Every major change you've made, every moment of growth, every breakthrough you've had, started because something became too painful to tolerate. A toxic relationship, a draining job, a bad habit, a self-destructive pattern, a version of yourself that embarrassed you. Think about it. You rise. When staying down finally hurts too much. That is the moment we're searching for today. Let's make this personal. I want you to ask yourself, slowly, honestly, deeply, what pain am I no longer willing to tolerate? Say it again. What pain am I no longer willing to tolerate? Is it the pain of waking up every day feeling disappointed in yourself? Is it the pain of knowing your potential is being wasted? Is it the pain of breaking promises to yourself again and again? Is it the pain of watching your life stay the same while time moves forward? Is it the pain of feeling numb, empty, directionless? Is it the pain of living a life that doesn't even feel like yours? Is it the pain of regret forming slowly inside you, drop by drop? Is it the pain of hiding who you are capable of becoming? Is it the pain of knowing you could do more, if only you tried? Whatever your pain is, it is trying to wake you up. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your signal. Pain is your alarm clock. Pain is your turning point. Pain says, this life, this level, this version of you, is no longer acceptable. And the moment you accept that truth, you begin to rise. A story of the pain question. Let me tell you a story. One that mirrors millions of lives. There was a man who lived in quiet frustration. Every day felt the same. He woke up tired, went to a job he hated, came home exhausted, said, I'll change tomorrow, and repeated the cycle. He wasn't miserable. He wasn't broken. He wasn't depressed. He was numb. Then one night, he walked into his bathroom, turned on the light, and looked at himself in the mirror. For the first time in years, he truly looked. He saw the weight he had gained, the dullness in his eyes, the exhaustion in his posture, the disappointment in his own reflection. And suddenly, out of nowhere, he whispered, I can't tolerate this anymore. Not loudly, not dramatically, but with truth, with honesty, with pain. And that one sentence shifted his entire life, because the moment he said it, something clicked. He had reached his threshold. He wasn't willing to tolerate being unhealthy. He wasn't willing to tolerate working a job that drained him. He wasn't willing to tolerate being invisible in his own life. Pain forced clarity. Clarity created action. Action created momentum. Momentum created transformation. Within months, his life looked completely different. Not because he suddenly became motivated, but because he stopped tolerating the life that killed his spirit. This can happen for you, right now. Your future depends on your answer. Everything in your life, your discipline, your motivation, your habits, your purpose, your identity, will be shaped by your answer to this question. What pain am I no longer willing to tolerate? Because once you answer that question, you stop living by default and start living by design. You stop drifting and start directing. You stop surviving and start building. You stop numbing your pain and start transforming it. And transformation always begins with truth. Your truth, a visualization, your emotional turning point. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the you that exists right now, standing in front of you. This version of you is tired, heavy, unmotivated. Now ask them, what pain are you no longer willing to tolerate? Watch their face, watch their eyes, watch their expression shift, As the truth rises, maybe they whisper it, maybe they cry it, maybe they shout it, but you'll hear it. And that answer is your breaking point, your awakening, your turning point. That answer is where the old you ends and the new you begins. The open loop, where we go next. Now that you've faced the pain question, now that you've cracked open the shell around your identity, now that you've allowed truth to rise, you're ready for the next step. Because in Chapter 5, you will learn the 3-phase reset ritual. The practical, psychological, actionable system that breaks your old patterns and jumpstarts your momentum. This is where transformation becomes physical. This is where you stop thinking and start changing. But before we go there, remember this: your life doesn't change when you want more. It changes when you refuse to accept less. And today, you took the first step toward never accepting less again. Chapter 5, Break the Cycle, the 3-phase reset ritual. Before we begin this chapter, I want you to understand something deeply, something most people overlook. You don't break laziness by trying harder. You break laziness by breaking the cycle that keeps you trapped. Because laziness isn't just a feeling, it's a loop, a predictable, repeatable, suffocating loop. And until you interrupt that loop, until you disrupt the pattern, until you create a new rhythm in your mind and body, you will always fall back into the same habits: overthinking, overplanning, overworrying, and doing nothing. But today, you're going to learn the system that stops that loop in its tracks. A system built from psychology, neuroscience, and real human behavior, but presented in a way that hits emotionally, physically, mentally. Because transformation isn't theory, transformation is movement. And this chapter is where your movement begins. I call it the 3-phase reset ritual. 3 steps that will restart your motivation, rebuild your momentum, and reset your identity. Let's begin. Phase 1. Interrupt. Break the pattern before it breaks you. The first phase is simple, but powerful. Interrupt the cycle. Stop the loop where it begins. Stop the overthinking. Stop the procrastination spiral. Stop the mental fog before it takes over. Because the moment you hesitate, the moment you say, "I'll do it later," the moment you freeze, your brain shifts into energy-saving mode. And once that happens, the day is gone. So how do you interrupt the cycle? With a physical shock, a pattern break, a state change, something that jolts your brain out of autopilot. Here are 3 ways to do it. Interrupt tool number 1, cold reset. Put cold water on your face. Take a cold shower. Hold ice in your hands for 10 seconds. Cold activates your nervous system, switches your brain from freeze mode into alert mode, forces your mind to wake up. It pulls you out of emotional fog and into physical presence. This is why athletes splash water on their face before performing. Why soldiers use cold exposure during training. Why millions of people use cold therapy to jumpstart clarity. Cold breaks the loop. Interrupt tool number 2, the breath shock. Take 1 deep inhale. Hold it for 4 seconds. Then release slowly. Then again and again. Your breath controls your state. Your state controls your ability to act. When your breathing is shallow, your motivation collapses. But when your breath deepens, your body sends a signal to the brain. We are alive, we are stable, we are ready. This resets your entire system. Interrupt tool number 3, the micro movement. Stand up, stretch your arms overhead, roll your shoulders, walk for 10 seconds. This tiny movement seems meaningless, but it changes everything. Because when the body moves, the mind follows. Motion creates emotion. Emotion creates energy. Energy creates action. Remember this forever. Your body is the switch that turns your mind back on. A story of the interrupt. There was a student who struggled with procrastination. Every morning he woke up with plans, but by noon he felt drained, foggy, disconnected. One day, after losing another full afternoon, he decided to test something a mentor told him. When the fog arrives, interrupt it. So the next day, when he felt that wave of laziness hit him, he didn't sit in it. He didn't scroll on his phone. He didn't wait for motivation. He stood up, walked to the sink, splashed cold water on his face, and something shifted. His brain snapped back online. His energy returned. His clarity rose. He interrupted the cycle. And from that day on, everything changed. Remember this: if you don't interrupt your patterns, Your patterns will interrupt your life. Phase 2, redirect. Channel the energy into one small action. Interrupting the fog is powerful. But interruption alone isn't enough. Once the cycle is broken, you must redirect your energy. Because if you don't choose where your mind goes next, it will fall right back into the old loop. Redirection is about one thing. Choosing one micro action. Not 5, not 10. Not your entire to-do list. Not the biggest task of the day. One action that takes less than 5 minutes. Micro action creates micro momentum. And micro momentum becomes macro transformation. Here's how to choose your first action. Redirection rule number 1, the 60-second start. If a task takes less than 1 minute, do it instantly. Make your bed. Drink a glass of water. Respond to one message. Open the book you need to study. Turn on your computer. This is how momentum begins. Not with discipline, but with direction. Redirection rule number 2, the what would future me do? Question. Ask yourself this. What small action would the person I want to become take right now? Not tomorrow. Not someday. Right now. Your future self becomes your compass. And the moment you shift your identity, your behavior follows. Redirection rule number 3, the half-door technique. When a task feels overwhelming, don't do the whole task. Do half of the first step. Want to study for an hour? Read for 2 minutes? Want to clean your room? Pick up one object. Want to work out? Put on your shoes. Half steps remove resistance. And resistance is what destroys momentum. Tiny actions create massive internal shifts because your mind learns. I am moving again. The story of the redirect. There was a woman who struggled to write her book. She had been stuck for months. Every time she sat down, her mind froze. Until one day she learned the power of redirection. Instead of writing a chapter, she wrote one sentence, just one. The next day, she wrote 2, then 3. And over time, one sentence became a paragraph became a page became a chapter. And the momentum she built carried her forward. The book that felt impossible became the book that changed her life. All because she redirected her energy into one small action. That's the power of phase 2. Phase 3, reinforce. Lock the new pattern into your identity. This is the part everyone forgets, but it is the most important step. When you interrupt the cycle and redirect your energy, you must reinforce the change. Why? Because the mind learns through repetition, through reward, through association. If you don't anchor the new action, your brain won't remember it tomorrow. Reinforcement tells your mind, this is who I am now. This is what I do. This is my new pattern. Here are the 3 ways to reinforce your transformation. Reinforcement tool number 1, micro-win celebration. After every small action, acknowledge it, say it softly. I did it. Momentum is building. I'm rising. This may feel silly, but it rewires your brain. Your mind learns to associate effort with reward, action with pride, progress with identity. Motivation doesn't come from success. Motivation comes from self-recognition. Reinforcement tool number 2, visual tracking. Get a journal, a calendar, or a simple sheet of paper. Every day you interrupt your patterns, redirect your energy, and take action. Put a mark on the page, a check mark, a dot, a line, anything. The brain loves visual progress. It makes your growth real, tangible, visible. 1 mark becomes 2, 2 becomes 5, 5 becomes 30, and suddenly, you no longer want to break the chain. The habit sticks because your identity shifts. Reinforcement tool number 3, identity statements. Every time you take action, repeat one identity statement quietly. I am someone who follows through. I take action even when I don't feel like it. I am becoming the person I want to be. I rise when others rest. I am in control. Identity is stronger than discipline. If you change who you believe you are, your actions will follow effortlessly. The story of reinforcement. There was a man who wanted to get fit, but every time he tried, he quit after a few days, until he learned reinforcement. Every day after his workout, he marked a giant red X on a calendar. It wasn't about the exercise. It was about the identity. After 1 week, he looked at the row of red X, and something clicked. He didn't want to break the chain. That visual reinforcement locked the habit into his identity. Within months, he didn't just get fit. He became someone who doesn't skip workouts. The ritual rewired him. This will happen to you too. Putting the 3-phase reset ritual together. Let's put it all together. When you feel lazy, when the fog rolls in, when the heaviness returns, you follow the ritual. Phase 1, interrupt. Do something physical to disrupt the loop. Phase 2, redirect. Choose one micro task and execute it. Phase 3, reinforce. Anchor the action into your identity. This ritual, done consistently, will reprogram your brain, because the brain learns through patterns, and this ritual creates a new pattern, a new identity, a new life. The open loop, what comes next? You now have the practical system. But in the next chapter, we're going to destroy the biggest myth of all, the myth of motivation. In chapter 6, you'll learn why motivation is unreliable, why waiting for it is destroying your life, and how to build a life where you don't need motivation at all. Because the people who rise aren't the ones who feel motivated, they're the ones who act without it. So, you will be one of them. Chapter 6, The Truth About Motivation. There is a belief almost everyone carries, a belief that quietly destroys dreams, kills potential, crushes momentum, a belief so common, so normalized, that no one questions it, the belief that you need motivation to change your life. People say it all the time. I'm just not motivated. I'll start when I feel motivated. I wish I had motivation like other people. If only I had the energy, the drive, the spark. But here's the truth you've never been told. Motivation is a lie, a trap, a myth. You don't need motivation. Motivation does not create action. Action creates motivation. Say it again. Action creates motivation. The people you think are disciplined, the people you admire, the people who seem unstoppable, they are not always motivated. Most days, they feel just like you. Tired, doubtful, uncertain, uninspired. But they learned something you were never taught. That motivation is not a fuel. Motivation is a result. And if you wait for motivation before you act, you will wait for the rest of your life. Let's go deeper. The motivation trap. Your brain has tricked you, not because it's cruel, but because it's designed for survival. It wants comfort, it wants safety, it wants familiarity, and motivation. Motivation requires risk, effort, movement, discomfort. So your brain doesn't give you motivation before you act. It gives you motivation after you act. This is why you can sit on your bed for 3 hours, feeling too lazy to start anything. But the moment you finally stand up, the moment you take a single step, the moment you begin, momentum hits you. Suddenly you're doing dishes, cleaning your room, finishing an assignment, working out, organizing your life. Not because motivation arrived first, but because action triggered dopamine, and dopamine triggered motivation. This is the hidden truth. Action, dopamine, motivation. Not motivation, action. You've been living the formula backwards your entire life, and that's why you feel stuck. The science behind the lie. Let's go deeper into the psychology. Your brain releases dopamine when it sees progress, not when it sees intention. You don't get dopamine from thinking about doing something. You get dopamine from doing it, from taking the first step, from completing the first microtask, from moving your body even slightly. This is why people feel amazing after a workout, but miserable before it. This is why cleaning feels good once you start, but impossible before you begin. This is why studying feels peaceful after 10 minutes, but overwhelming before you open the book. Your brain rewards movement, not thought. Rewards action, not desire. It rewards consistency, not waiting. So if you spend your life waiting for motivation, you are waiting for a chemical reward that can only be triggered by taking action. Motivation isn't the cause, it's the effect. The emotional truth, waiting is avoidance. If we're honest, the reason you wait for motivation isn't because you need it, it's because waiting feels comfortable. Waiting protects you from fear. Waiting protects you from failure. Waiting protects you from responsibility. You tell yourself, I'm not ready. I don't feel inspired. I'll start when I'm in the right mood. I'll do it tomorrow. But what you really mean is, I'm scared to start. I'm scared to try. I'm scared to fail again. Waiting becomes a shield, a psychological blanket, a way to delay discomfort. But here's the truth you've been avoiding. Your future is dying in the space between now and later. Your dream is becoming weaker every time you say, "Not today." Your potential is waiting for you to move, not waiting for you to feel motivated. The difference between motivated people and everyone else. There are two types of people in this world. Not motivated and unmotivated. Not disciplined and lazy, but reactive people and initiating people. Reactive people wait for the right emotion. Initiating people choose the right action. Reactive people wait for external energy. Initiating people generate internal momentum. Reactive people move when they feel like it. Initiating people feel like it because they moved. Reactive people let the day control them. Initiating people control the day. Most people are reactive, which is why most people stay stuck. But the top 1%, the people who rise, the people who transform, they know the truth. Emotion follows action, not the other way around. So, you will know it too. A story about the death of motivation. There was a man who always dreamed of getting fit, but he waited for motivation. He bought the gym membership, bought the clothes, watched fitness videos, planned routines, set goals, but he couldn't start. Weeks passed, months passed, until one day, his trainer said something that shattered his worldview. Motivation is not coming for you. Stop waiting for a feeling. Start building a habit. The man was confused. He asked, "But how do I start without motivation?" The trainer smiled and said, "You start before motivation. You start small. You start imperfect. You start scared. You start tired. You start without wanting to, because that's how winners start." So the next morning, he didn't plan a full workout. He didn't wait for excitement. He didn't wait for energy. He simply did 5 push-ups. The next day, he did 6. A week later, he was doing 15. A month later, he didn't need motivation. He wanted to move. He wanted to train. He wanted to become better. His dopamine system had rewired. His identity had shifted. His action had created motivation. And his life changed. This will happen to you too. Once you stop waiting. The real enemy of motivation. The real enemy isn't laziness. It's friction. The tiny obstacles. The small inconveniences. The micro-resistance that makes starting feel impossible. Your environment either pulls you forward or drags you down. Let me show you. If your phone is next to your bed, you don't need motivation to scroll. You need discipline to stop scrolling. If your room is a mess, you don't need motivation to feel overwhelmed. Your environment is creating stress. If your workspace is cluttered, you don't need motivation to procrastinate. You need clarity. If your goals are vague, you don't need motivation to feel lost. You need direction. This is the truth. Your environment shapes your behavior far more than motivation ever will. And that brings us to the environment shift. If you want to stop relying on motivation, you must create an environment that makes action easier and distraction harder. Here's how. Environment rule number 1, remove the friction. Make the first step effortless. Lay out your clothes if you want to work out. Put your book on your pillow so you read before bed. Keep your journal open on your desk. Put your water bottle where you can see it. Place your guitar next to your chair. The first step is easy. Your brain will follow. Environment rule number 2, add positive triggers. Use anchors. A clean desk triggers focus. A made bed triggers discipline. A workout mat on the floor triggers movement. A visible list of goals triggers intention. Your environment should remind you of who you're becoming, not who you used to be. Environment rule number 3, reduce negative triggers. Hide the things that drain you. Move your phone away during deep work. Delete apps that steal your time. Use website blockers. Turn off notifications. Make distraction harder. Make action easier. Your environment is either a weapon for your future or a trap for your potential. You choose. A story about environment over motivation. There was a man who always struggled to study. He thought he was lazy. He thought he lacked motivation. Until one day he did something simple. He cleaned his desk. He put away the distractions, organized his books, moved his phone to another room, and placed one pen in the center of his table. When he sat down, something felt different. The silence, the clarity, the order. His mind didn't resist. It melted into focus, not because he was more motivated, but because his environment supported his effort. From that day on, he learned a powerful truth. You You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You rise to the level of your environment. The open loop, what comes next? Now that you understand the truth behind motivation, now that you know it's not your fuel, but your result, you're ready for the next chapter. Because in chapter 7, we're going to go deeper than motivation, deeper than momentum, deeper than environment. We're going to rebuild the core of who you are, your identity. In chapter 7, you'll learn the 3 identities every human carries, why your old identity is keeping you stuck, how to build a new identity that aligns with your future self. Because once your identity changes, your life changes automatically. This is where you evolve. This is where you become unstoppable. This is where you rise beyond motivation. But for now, remember this. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start acting so you become ready. Motivation doesn't start your journey. Motivation is what you earn along the way. Chapter 7, When You Lose Yourself, Rebuilding Identity. There comes a moment in every human life, a moment where you look in the mirror and realize you don't recognize the person staring back at you, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You feel disconnected from who you used to be, disconnected from who you wanted to become, disconnected from the fire that once lived inside you. You feel like a stranger in your own story. This is not laziness. This is not weakness. This is not failure. This is identity loss. And identity loss is the real reason why discipline collapses, why motivation disappears, why habits fall apart, why dreams fade, why you feel stuck in a loop you don't know how to escape. Because your identity isn't just a concept. Your identity is your internal operating system. It determines how you think, how you feel, how you act, how you show up in the world. And when that system breaks, everything breaks. But here's the powerful truth. Identity is not permanent. Identity can be rebuilt. Identity can be rewritten. Identity can evolve. And today, you begin the process of rebuilding yours. Let's go deeper. The 3 identities inside you. Inside every human being, there are 3 identities fighting for control. And until you understand them, you will always feel pulled in different directions. These identities are the past self, the present self, the emerging self. Let's explore each one. 1. The past self. This is the version of you shaped by your childhood, your failures, your pain, your heartbreak, your disappointments, your fears, your old stories. This version of you holds memories, but it also holds wounds. The past self whispers things like, "You failed before. Remember when you tried and it didn't work? Don't take risks, stay safe. You're not capable of changing. You're not that type of person." These whispers are familiar, comforting, but deadly, because the past self is emotionally tied to your survival, not your evolution. It wants to protect you, but ends up limiting you. And if you're not careful, your past identity becomes your future prison. But there's another identity inside you. 2. The present self. This is who you are today. Your habits, your routines, your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, your results. The present self is not good or bad. It is simply the default. It does what feels comfortable. It repeats what feels familiar. It avoids what feels challenging. Even if those patterns are destroying your life, the present self says, "This is just who I am. This is how I've always been. I don't know how to change. I'll try later." It is stuck between the memory of the past and the potential of the future. This identity keeps you alive, but not fulfilled. But there is a third identity inside you, a powerful one, a silent one, a waiting one. 3. The emerging self. This is the version of you that tries to rise, the version that whispers, "I want more. I know I'm capable of more. I'm not done yet. I'm meant for something greater. I can rebuild my life." The emerging self is your potential, your evolution, your next chapter, your higher path. It's the voice that wakes up when you hear something inspiring, when you imagine a better future, when you think about becoming stronger, wiser, braver. The emerging self is your future identity, and the struggle you feel inside right now, the confusion, the laziness, the lostness, the emptiness, it comes from the war between these 3 identities. Your past self is pulling you backward. Your present self is keeping you stuck, but your emerging self is trying to pull you forward. The question is, which identity are you feeding? Because the identity you feed becomes the identity you live. Let's go deeper. Why you feel stuck between who you were and who you want to be. Feeling stuck is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're transitioning. Transitions feel like confusion, emptiness, lack of motivation, identity loss, emotional numbness, self-doubt. Not because you're weak, but because your old identity is dying. And your new identity hasn't fully formed yet. You are between stories, between chapters, between versions of yourself. Feels uncomfortable, feels disorienting, feels scary. But this discomfort is growth. You are shedding who you used to be to make room for who you're becoming. Like a snake shedding its old skin, like a phoenix burning before it rises, like a seed cracking open before it grows. Growth is not comfortable. Growth is destruction before creation. Your lostness is proof that you're evolving. The real reason you can't stick to new habits, it's not because you're lazy, it's not because you lack discipline, it's because you're trying to build new habits. Using an old identity, you can't create a new life. Using the mindset of your past life. Let me make it clear. A person who believes they are lazy will sabotage every attempt at discipline. A person who believes they are inconsistent will quit every habit. A person who believes they are not good enough will destroy every opportunity, because behavior is not the problem. Identity is the problem, and identity is formed through repetition. Your mind asks, what kind of person am I? And your actions answer, every day, every moment, every time you procrastinate, your identity becomes, I'm a procrastinator. Every time you break a promise to yourself, your identity becomes, I don't follow through. Every time you avoid responsibility, your identity becomes, I'm not capable. But the opposite is also true. One small win can shift your identity. One small action can say, I am someone who tries. I am someone who grows. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who is coming back. Identity is not built in a moment, but it can begin in a moment, and that moment can be today. The tool, identity anchoring. Here is the method to rebuild your identity from the ground up. Simple, but powerful, and if you practice it consistently, it will rewire your entire self-image. Let's begin. Step 1. Define your emerging identity. Answer this. Who is the person you want to become? Not what goals they have, not what achievements they want, but who they are. Are they disciplined? Are they bold? Are they calm? Are they focused? Are they courageous? Are they consistent? Are they a leader? Are they someone who wakes up with purpose? Define this clearly, because you cannot become someone you have not defined. Step 2. Choose 3 identity statements. Pick 3 powerful I am statements that align with your emerging self. Examples. I am a person who follows through. I am a person who takes action even when it's hard. I am someone who rewrites my life. I am disciplined. I am consistent. I am becoming unstoppable. These statements must feel like a stretch, but not a lie. They must challenge your old identity, but awaken your new one. Step 3. Attach action to identity. Identity without action is fantasy. Action without identity is temporary. But identity plus action equals transformation. So every day, take one action that aligns with your emerging identity. If your statement is, I am disciplined, your action might be, make your bed, go for a walk, finish a task you've avoided. If your statement is, I am someone who shows up, your action might be, start the assignment, go to the gym, practice your skill. Tiny actions awaken massive identity shifts, because your brain begins to say, if I did the action, then I must be the type of person who does it. And that changes everything. Step 4. Repeat until your brain believes it. Your identity is shaped by what you do repeatedly. Say it, act it, live it, repeat it, until it feels natural, until it feels automatic, until it feels like you. Because at some point, your emerging self will no longer feel like a dream. It will feel like your truth. A story of identity transformation. There was a man who believed he was inconsistent. Every habit he started, he quit. Every dream he had, he abandoned. He didn't trust himself. He didn't believe in himself. He thought discipline was something other people had. Until one day, his mentor told him, You don't have a discipline problem. You have an identity problem. You're living as a past version of yourself. This confused him, so the mentor gave him a challenge. For 30 days, do one thing every morning. Just one. Something simple, something small, but do it every day. The man agreed. He chose something simple. Make his bed. 5 seconds of action. Every morning. At first it felt pointless, but slowly, something shifted. He began seeing himself differently. He wasn't a man who quit. He was a man who followed through. He wasn't inconsistent. He was rebuilding consistency. He wasn't broken. He was growing. 30 days later, he didn't just have a new habit. He had a new identity. And that identity became the foundation for changing his entire life. This will be your story too. The open loop, what comes next? Now that your identity is awakening, now that you're beginning to understand who you truly are and who you are becoming, you are ready for the next step. In Chapter 8, we will rebuild your life itself, your habits, your priorities, your environment, your direction. You will learn the 3 priorities rule and the 90-day rebuild system that turns your new identity into a new reality, because an identity without structure fades, but an identity with structure becomes unstoppable. Your transformation is unfolding, and the next chapter will accelerate it. Chapter 8, Rebuilding a Life You Actually Want. You've reached a powerful moment in your journey, because up until now, everything we've done has been internal. We've explored your emotions, your mindset, your identity, your patterns, your fears, your internal wiring. But now, we shift from the inner world to the outer world, because knowing who you are and knowing who you want to become means nothing if your life is not built to support that version of you. Identity without structure collapses. Identity without direction drifts. Identity without alignment becomes a burden instead of a blessing. So today, we begin rebuilding your life, but not in the overwhelming way you've tried before. Not with 20 goals, not with a massive to-do list, not with unrealistic expectations that suffocate you. Today, we rebuild your life simply, powerfully, intentionally, because simplicity is strength, clarity is momentum, direction is energy. Let's begin with a truth you may have forgotten. Your life is not built by big decisions. Your life is built by consistent choices. The small things you do every day shape the big things you become every year. So we start there. The 3 priorities rule. How to escape overwhelm and rebuild your life with clarity. Right now, your life feels heavy, chaotic, disorganized, overwhelming. Not because you have too much to do, but because you're trying to do everything at once. You're carrying goals from your past self, expectations from other people, responsibilities you absorbed without thinking, habits that drain you, dreams that contradict each other, and your mind is overloaded. An overloaded mind shuts down. An overloaded mind confuses activity with progress. An overloaded mind convinces you that you're failing, even when you're simply drowning in too much noise. So we silence the noise with a rule that has already transformed millions of lives. The 3 priorities rule. Here's how it works. Instead of trying to fix everything, instead of trying to upgrade your entire life, instead of trying to reinvent yourself overnight, you choose 3 priorities, and only 3. 3 areas of your life that matter most right now. 3 points of focus. 3 anchors for your energy. Not 5, not 10, not 20, 3. Because 3 priorities are manageable, clear, focused, achievable. 3 priorities create momentum instead of overwhelm, direction instead of confusion, alignment instead of chaos. Let me show you how to choose them. Priority number 1, your internal world. You cannot rebuild your life if you do not rebuild your mind. Your first priority must always be your internal world. Examples: your mental health, your emotional stability, your identity, your confidence, your discipline, your morning routine, your clarity. Choose the one internal shift that would create the biggest ripple effect. Because when your mind rises, your life rises with it. Priority number 2, your physical foundation. Your energy determines your destiny. If your body is weak, your motivation collapses, your clarity disappears, your momentum dies. So priority number 2 must be something physical. Examples: walking daily, working out, drinking more water, sleeping better. stretching, fixing your posture, eating cleaner. You don't need a perfect body. You need an energized life. Priority number 3, your life's direction. This is where purpose begins to form. Priority number 3 is about your future, your career, your skills, your goals, your personal projects. Not 10 goals, not a whole vision board, just one direction that matters right now. Examples: learning a new skill, building your business, improving your finances, starting a creative project, improving your relationships. This is the path that aligns with your emerging self, the path that brings meaning back into your life. When you choose these 3 priorities, everything changes. Your mind suddenly feels lighter. Your energy returns. Your days become simpler. Your actions become intentional. Your progress becomes visible. Because you're no longer trying to be 10 people at once. You're becoming one powerful, aligned, disciplined version of yourself. And that version is the foundation for the next part of your transformation. The 90-day rebuild system. How to rebuild your entire life without burning out. Most people fail to change their lives because they try to change forever. Forever is overwhelming. Forever is abstract. Forever is impossible to plan. But 90 days? 90 days is doable. 90 days is measurable. 90 days is enough to transform your identity without overwhelming your brain. So here's the system. Step 1. Choose your 3 priorities for the next 90 days. Not for the next year. Not for the rest of your life. Just for the next 3 months. This creates urgency, focus, and psychological commitment. 90 days is long enough to see real change, but short enough to feel achievable. Step 2. Create one micro habit for each priority. Not 5 habits per area. Not a full schedule. Just one micro habit. Examples: internal world, 5 minutes of journaling, morning breath work, saying one identity statement daily, physical foundation, 10-minute walk, 15 push-ups, drinking 1 extra bottle of water, life direction, 10 minutes of skill training, learning a new skill, writing 5 sentences of your book, studying 1 lesson per day. Small habits create big results because consistency beats intensity every time. Step 3. Track your wins. Each day, make 3 marks on your page, 1 for each habit. Even if the habit takes 30 seconds, it counts. This is how you rebuild trust in yourself. This is how you rebuild belief. This is how you rebuild identity. A completed habit is not just action. It is proof. Proof that you're rising. Proof that you're consistent. Proof that you're rebuilding your life, piece by piece. Step 4. Evaluate your transformation every 30 days. Not results, not numbers, not perfection. Evaluate your identity. Ask yourself, how do I feel now? What feels different? What feels easier? What feels clearer? What habits feel natural now? Who am I becoming? Because the goal of the 90-day rebuild isn't perfection. The goal is evolution. Why this system works when everything else fails? It works because it's rooted in psychology. Your brain hates complexity, but loves clarity. Your brain hates huge goals, but loves micro wins. Your brain hates uncertainty, but loves simple rules. This system removes resistance, removes overwhelm, removes self-sabotage. It locks your emerging identity into your daily behavior until transformation becomes automatic, until effort becomes identity, until action becomes instinct. The story of the 90-day rebuild. There was a man whose life was falling apart. Nothing dramatic, nothing explosive, just the slow burnout of someone who stopped caring. His room was messy. His priorities were gone. His dreams were fading. His identity was dissolving. One day, he stumbled across the idea of a 90-day rebuild. He didn't believe it would work. He didn't believe anything would work, but he tried it anyway. He chose 3 priorities: internal world, build confidence, physical foundation, move daily, life direction, learn a new skill. 3 priorities, 3 habits, 3 check marks per day. The first week was shaky, but the second week felt different. And by the 3rd week, something had shifted. He felt lighter, stronger, more aware of his choices. By day 45, he didn't recognize the old version of himself, the numb version, the drifting version, the defeated version. By day 90, he wasn't fixing his life. It built a new one. A life he actually wanted to wake up to. A life he could be proud of. A life aligned with who he was becoming. Your story will be the same. If you commit, the emotional truth, you deserve a life that fits you. You've spent years living a life shaped by expectations, fear, old stories, old identities, survival, self-doubt. But now, you're rebuilding your life intentionally. A life that fits your soul. A life that matches your potential. A life that reflects your emerging self. This life will not be built overnight, but with the 3 priorities rule and the 90-day rebuild system, it will be built brick by brick, day by day, habit by habit, identity by identity, until one day you look around and realize, I built this, I created this, this is my life now, my new chapter, my awakening, my rebirth. And the best part? You'll finally feel connected again, connected to your purpose, connected to your identity, connected to your future, because the life you're rebuilding is a life that matches who you are becoming. The open loop, what comes next? Now you have direction. Now you have structure. Now you have a roadmap. But there is one more step, the final chapter, chapter 9, where everything comes together. In the final chapter, you will learn how to become truly unstoppable, how to keep your momentum alive, how to build a 24-hour ritual that guarantees progress, how to permanently transform your identity, how to step fully into your new life. This is the chapter where your transformation becomes irreversible. Prepare yourself, because the final chapter isn't just a lesson, it's a rebirth. Chapter 9, Becoming Unstoppable. Your new life starts now. Take a deep breath, because everything you've done so far, everything you've faced, everything you've realized, everything you've rebuilt, has led you to this moment, the moment where your old life ends, and your new life begins. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, but now. Because now, you finally understand something most people never learn. That laziness wasn't your enemy, lostness wasn't your failure, lack of motivation wasn't your flaw. These things were symptoms, messages, signals telling you that the version of you who brought you this far was not the version who would take you forward. You weren't stuck because you were broken. You were stuck because you were evolving. And now, that evolution is ready to become your reality. Today, you step into your new identity, your new habits, your new mindset, your new path. Today, you become unstoppable. Let's begin the final chapter, the birth of your new life. Every transformation has a moment where the person you once were and the person you are becoming stand face to face, and you must decide who you will continue being. This is that moment for you, right here, right now. As you listen to these words, the version of you who felt lost, who felt lazy, who felt disconnected, who felt overwhelmed, who felt small, who felt numb, that version of you is slipping away, not because you are forcing it, but because you finally outgrew it. You have learned, you have reflected, you have rebuilt, you have awakened, and now you are ready to rise, ready to claim your life, ready to step into the identity you've been suppressing for years. Your new life doesn't begin with motivation, or discipline, or a perfect plan. It begins with a decision to stop waiting, stop fearing, stop hesitating, stop returning to the versions of yourself you've already outgrown, a decision to say, I'm taking back my life. I am becoming the person I was meant to be. I am done playing small. Because here is the truth. Your life changes the moment you change. And you are changing. The 24-hour commitment, the ritual that guarantees transformation. There is one final tool, one final ritual, one final step, and it is the most important of all. It's called the 24-hour commitment. This ritual is simple, but life-changing, because the biggest mistake people make is trying to transform their entire life in one day. Transformation doesn't happen in a day. Transformation happens daily. So here's the commitment. Within the next 24 hours, you must choose one action that aligns with your new identity, and you must complete it. Not a huge action, not a dramatic action, not a perfect action, just one action. One action that proves to your brain, to your body, to your identity, to your destiny, that the old you is gone, and the new you is here. This action becomes the emotional anchor, the symbolic shift, the physical proof of your rebirth. Here are examples of 24-hour commitments. Clean your room. Go for a walk. Start the project you've been avoiding. Apply for the job. Delete the apps that drain you. Write your vision for the next 90 days. Drink only water for a day. Read for 10 minutes. Do a 5-minute workout. Meditate for 3 minutes. It doesn't matter what you choose. What matters is that you choose something, and you do it, because this ritual tells your identity. I don't just talk about change, I act on it. And once you take that action, you feel it, the shift, the spark, a pulse of energy in your chest, a quiet voice that whispers, "It's happening. I'm rising. I'm becoming who I was meant to be." This feeling is your beginning, why you will never go back. You may wonder, how do I know I won't fall back into my old patterns? How do I know I won't lose momentum again? How do I know I won't slip back into laziness or feeling lost? And the answer is simple, because you now understand the truth. You now recognize the signals. You now know the rituals. You now have the tools. You now control your identity. You now know the path forward. Before this journey, you didn't understand why you felt stuck. You didn't understand your mind, your patterns, your identity, your psychology. But now you see clearly. And once a person sees clearly, they cannot go back to blindness. Once a person understands their own mind, they cannot be manipulated by old patterns. Once a person meets their emerging self, they can never fully return to their past self. This is why you become unstoppable. Not because you force yourself, but because you know yourself. And self-awareness is the foundation of power. Your life from this moment forward. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine yourself waking up tomorrow, not with dread, not with heaviness, not with confusion, but with clarity. You rise with direction, with intention, with purpose. You make your bed, not because someone told you to, but because it aligns with your new identity. You breathe deeply, not because it's a routine, but because it centers your mind. You open your journal, write one page of who you're becoming, and you feel it deep in your chest. You are different now. You walk into your day, not drifting, not reacting, not escaping, but leading your life, commanding your choices, owning your energy. You take action, the small kind, the real kind, the kind that builds momentum. And with every action you take, your identity grows. You begin to trust yourself again. You begin to believe in yourself again. You begin to remember who you are, who you were meant to be, who you're becoming. This is your new life, not dramatic, not chaotic, not overwhelming, but intentional, structured, aligned, purposeful. And then, one morning, you will look into the mirror, and you will see someone new, not a stranger, but the version of yourself you've been searching for, a version who is strong, capable, grounded, clear, driven, awake, a version who rose from the fog, from the numbness, from the confusion, from the lostness, a version who rebuilt their life from the inside out, a version who is unstoppable. That version is arriving, your final identity statement. Before we end this journey, I want you to say something, softly, out loud, to yourself, not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a declaration. Say this: I am becoming unstoppable, and nothing will pull me back. Say it again. I am becoming unstoppable, and nothing will pull me back. Feel it, own it, let it sink into your identity. Let it carve itself into your mind, because this is the moment your life begins again. Not the old life, not the small life, not the drifting life, but the life aligned with your highest potential, your deepest purpose, your truest identity, the life you were meant to live. Your final engagement call. If you've made it all the way to the end, you are not average. You are not ordinary. You are not drifting anymore. You are part of the few, the rare, the ones who take control of their life. So go to the comments and type, I am back. Not for the algorithm, not for me, but for you, so that your future self, 1 year from now, 10 years from now, you will look back and know the exact moment you decided to rise, the moment you decided to reclaim your life, the moment you awakened your identity, the moment you became unstoppable.